To the Eastern Cape now, where yet another scandal has rocked that province's education system. This time, it's teachers from the Ntabankulu municipality being investigated for allegedly locking children up to go partying during a school trip. In a video that circulated on social media, children were seen sleeping on a floor wearing their uniforms. The province's Premier, Oscar Mabuyane, has called for swift action against those responsible. And our reporter, Ronald Masinda, is covering that story for us, and he joins us now live. Ronald, just give us more details pertaining to this. I mean, when I saw it circulating on social media, to be honest with you, I just thought maybe this is fake news. So it happened. What are people telling you? What's the explanation from those stakeholders?
Well, Maseko, that incident has certainly sparked a lot of outrage, not only on social media, but here in the Eastern Cape, leaving many people to ask those questions as to why would educators leave children stranded and go out allegedly partying until the early hours of the morning. I did ask those questions in my previous conversation with the MEC for Education, Fundile Gadi, and he did confirm that those educators have been now suspended pending the outcomes of the investigation. But for more on this conversation, I am joined by the provincial head of the South African Human Rights Commission here in the Eastern Cape, Dr. Eileen Carter. Dr. Carter, thank you so much for your time. Just in terms of you as a Human Rights Commission, are you investigating this matter?
Yes, what we've done is we've opened an owner court investigation after we picked up the allegations in the media. And what that means is we will basically put these allegations or our concerns that we have to the department for them to respond. Because certainly when we speak about the rights of children and the vulnerabilities of children, we want answers on what happened here.
You say that you've moved into this role in around February, but there's certainly been several other cases that you've been investigating. How are those investigations going?
Well, the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape is unfortunately our biggest respondent, which means that we receive the most cases against this one single department in the province. About 25% of all our complaints are education related. So we have several open investigations that we are looking into because the best interest of the children for us is such an important right that we need to make sure we prioritize, as well as the basic education rights of the children. So we certainly have a lot of investigations that are currently ongoing, and we have a dedicated team now on just education matters because unfortunately we do not receive the responses that we require, and it's not that forthcoming as we would want them to be.
Dr. Carter, it certainly is concerning given that schools are supposed to be areas where children feel secure, feel safe, and also see themselves having a brighter future after coming out of school, and with educators as their company. In terms of your own views, what seems to be the problem here in the Eastern Cape?
Well, if we look at the complaints that we do receive, most of them are infrastructure related. But we do receive complaints related to corporal punishment, unfortunately still. We receive complaints related to bullying. Sometimes we receive complaints where learners are victimized because of their gender identity. And this, unfortunately, comes from educators. So there seems to be a need for us to speak to educators about the rights of learners and make sure that we safeguard their rights, whether or not teachers agree with certain practices, religions, cultures, or traditional rights. We have to make sure that we safeguard the rights of children above and beyond.
Is the Education Department in the Eastern Cape also playing their part in also to assist the Human Rights Commission and other sort of initiatives around safeguarding children?
Well, I do think there's an absolute commitment. We've had very successful meetings with the executive of this province specifically, but what we do urge all government stakeholders is to cooperate with the Human Rights Commission first and foremost when we do lodge investigations, to assist us with the relevant information so that we can have a quicker turnaround time and clarity provided to the members of the public as well. At this stage, we do think there's a lot of room for improvement. And when we look at the rights of children, which is a basic right to education, it's not an access right, it's not a progressively realizing right. We need to address these issues now. There's no time for us to wait for government stakeholders to come on board. We need to do it now.
Very lastly, the eNCA matter is back in court tomorrow. It is also a case where you've also been working closely with the families of the affected. What are families going through at the moment?
Well, from the Human Rights Commission's side, I can only say that our own processes are pending, and at this stage we would like to leave that for now, but we have been, as recently as last week, been in the community again, looking at the facilities that are in fact available for children in terms of recreation. So it's a wider conversation that we also need to have aside from this specific incidents.
All right. Eileen Carter, thank you so much for your time. That was Dr. Eileen Carter of the SA Human Rights Commission. And just on that particular matter earlier, we also heard from Fundile Gadi with regards to the ongoing investigation into what happened on the Wild Coast, is that they are expecting an outcome on Thursday.
All right, Ronald Masinda live for us in the Eastern Cape. Let's leave it there for now.